Thanks for joining me today. This is Whitney with the Yoga Art Space Studio. And today we've got a sequence that helps our low back, especially, to feel very good, very relaxed, very open. So let's get right into the hammock to get started. Grab the front edge, wave it left and right. Hooking your thumbs, take a good 5 or so grips, getting about half the fabric. Back up under the plumb line. Rising up to tippy toes, come on in. Let's head all the way back into our Shavasana Pose. And for this moment, simply notice how your back is doing. Our back is our support structure. It's what literally carries the rest of our torso through our life. So perhaps if you're going through back pain, perhaps there's a deeper symbolism that your support structure in your life has gone awry. And so as we move through these simple poses today, getting to stretch and open and invert, keep that idea in your mind. How is my support system doing at this moment? Do I need more support? Who do I need to ask for that additional support? And with that question to help lead us onward, let's begin stretching the arms all the way to the space behind you. And take a few nice cycles, slowly letting the arms swing to the right and the arms swing to the left. The hips are moving in the opposite direction as the arms so that we get a chance to stretch the lateral body, the side ribs. Take it twice more to each side. Good. As we return back into a nice straight line, here we're going to use our fetal position almost as a diagnostic tool so that we can feel the whole spine and how it's doing. Know that you don't have to rush through this process. Begin to turn onto your right side body. You're laying onto that side body. As the knees simply curl in, this is a nice fetal position. So very slowly, let's take 3 cycles. Take a moment to curl the elbows in toward the knees. Feel how the back reacts to these movements. And then stretching the legs back out. Start to engage your muscles of your back so that you're arching slightly behind you. How do those muscles feel? Taking the second round. And back. Good. Last cycle. And then rest, just taking a few nice breaths in the normal fetal position. This is one of those poses that helps to diagnose how we're doing. It can help bring to light which area of the spine is doing okay and which directions of movement are most helpful. Depending on how people's spines are doing, occasionally forward bending is painful and back bending is great, or vice versa. It all depends on how we've been treating those discs of our vertebrae our whole life. Now begin to switch to the fetal position on the other side. When you find yourself in that position, you take those 3 nice slow cycles again. Curling in And gently arcing back. 2. And 1. Enjoying a few more breaths just to rest right here. And then as we start to return down onto our backs, leave the legs inside the fabric, gripping your hands onto the fabric. Lift your shoulders up enough that the fabric starts to fall down right to your armpit area. From here, arms can simply drape down by your sides and begin to let the head, neck, and shoulders fall backwards over that back edge of the fabric. This is a very gentle back bend, so this is a nice chance to just check in with how the spine is doing in this direction. Gently lifting the head up, re-grip on, and then slide the fabric down to about the bottom of the rib cage. Still sitting on some of those low ribs. So this is about where the waist is. So you can grip onto the fabric as you head backwards or drape the arms down to go just a little bit deeper, your preference. This heads our spine into a slightly deeper version of a back bend. Tuck the head in to rise. If there's still more space in the back to take one more depth of this, then you'll push the fabric all the way to the back side of the hips. And then take practically a full Cobra pose, letting the whole spine spill over backwards. And so notice, how does this feel on our spine? Again, sometimes backwards is the direction that helps, and sometimes forward is the direction that feels the most kind. We need to take both directions so that we can become clear on what's going on in our body. So take another good deep inhale. Exhale, the head comes in. And we rise all the way up until we can stretch over our 2 straight legs inside the fabric. What this does is give our vertebrae a chance to round to the opposite direction. So that can be very helpful to balance out the spine after that deep forward, the deep back bend that we just took. As you feel that the blood pressure through the body feels normal and the spine feels happy again, we'll start to kick our feet free off the front edge. Gripping your hands into both edges of the fabric, we're going to try to use the arm strength to lift us up and gently pop out. Once we're there, take this fabric that's behind you and bring it up into your shoulder blades. Essentially, your armpits are free off each end of it. And then walk back until you can simply lean backwards into the fabric. From there, the feet need to travel back forward to that spot under the plumb line. You can bring them a little bit wider to make this next thing easier, or narrower is also fine. And take just a moment to be in a nice straight, rigid line. Almost like a little sun salutation for our spine, the next movement is going to help us go kind of like the motion of back and forth between downward facing dog and upward facing dog. So to get to the downward facing dog portion of it, we're going to bend our hips and kind of form a pike shape, a nice 90-degree angle with our torso. I like to take my hands nice and high, use the entire surface area of each arm to help press into the fabric. The thumbs simply hug around. So from there, you're able to sink your hips back, essentially the shape of downward facing dog. From here, we need to bend the knees and then shift forward. When we come forward, arch the heart back like an upward facing dog. So bend the knees to travel back. Hips go low. This is a nice down dog. Now notice it's okay to shift your grip to be what's most comfortable, such as elbows wide here. Dripping back. And forward. Try to let the neck be in the same angle as the rest of the spine. So one more time back. And forward. Beautiful. As we come back into this nice leaning backwards plank position, shake your arms out for a moment. Clasping the hands together behind your back, pull the arms as far away from your spine as they can get. A nice shoulder opener. Release and shake. And then we take a little twist. So we continue to stand on left foot, right knee lifts up, plant it off to the mat on that left edge, and then we spiral our spine into a nice twist. So perhaps left hand on that right thigh, and then gaze over the right shoulder. Good, return. Now the right foot is down in the middle, lift the left knee up, twist it over, planting it to the right side, and set up the hands for a good twist. Good work. Unwind, walk backwards, free out the shoulders and bring the fabric out in front. Once it's back in front, take a light grip with your hands, and we're going to imagine that we're stirring a cauldron, going in nice slow motion so we can move through all the muscles of our entire spine. We're gripping about shoulder distance wide. From here, your right elbow bends into your waist, and your left arm goes straight as you turn your torso to the right side. From there, lean over to the right direction. The left arm is straight, right elbow bends down. Slowly straighten the right arm as you swing through the center. Continue to swing over to the left side and bend the left elbow down. Good. Rising up, we return back to the start position. Reverse the direction of the circle. Left elbow bends, right arm goes straight. We're leaning over to the left side of the mat. Straighten both arms through the center. Continue to circle off to the right edge, bending right elbow down. And return. Let's take one more circle to each direction. Going off to the right side. This one can be a little bit faster. Straighten both arms through the center. Bend the left elbow. And rise. And then circling the whole cauldron, finishing on the right. Amazing efforts. From here, the elbows go forward. Keep the fabric right across the hip bones. And then take a step or so forward to help take all the slack out of the fabric. Leaning into the fabric, we're able to bend down, drop the hands to the ground. And then several steps backwards takes our hips back under the plumb line. Hands stay firmly rooted into the earth. As long as this is not super uncomfortable for your hip and your pelvic area, begin to lift the toes up. See if you can walk the hands forward a little bit more and then completely relax the shoulders so that the arms can be very straight, lengthening through the side body. Again, if this ever gets too intense, you can drop the toes down. Perhaps little movement's still good. Swinging the hips a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left. And from this point, if you feel comfortable with it, you're welcome to circle your hands around the shins and simply hold in this nice cannonball shape. Feel that low back and how it's able to use gravity to find space in between the vertebrae, those little discs. Gently dropping the hands and the toes down. Resume the shape of a downward facing dog, so hips get to lift nice and high. From here, right hand reaches up. You can grab either strand of the fabric. The closer one is easier, further one is harder. And allow yourself to peel that right shoulder back, trying to stack the shoulders as you gaze up to the sky. Good, dropping this right hand down. Move up to the second side, lifting left hand up. Again, you can grab either strand. And then drop that hand down, walk forward. Once we're back at the top of the mat, bend the knees. And gently let yourself roll your spine up, back up to standing. Head right into a nice Stargazer Pose. Taking the fabric back under the armpits, lean back into the fabric. This gives our whole body that circulation a chance to regulate. If you'd like to plant the feet wide, bringing them under plumb line, you can lean back, supporting the weight of the head and the arms. And then take a swaying position. So bend the right elbow and the right knee. This helps us lean everything over to the right side. Straightening the right knee. Shift over to the left side. We're going to take it once more to the right. And once more to the left. Beautiful. Walking backwards until we're standing, we bring the fabric out in front of us. And I step our right thigh inside. Setting up for warrior one, make sure you're only standing about a half of a foot behind the plumb line. So the head is just slightly behind. Flat hands go into the fabric, thumbs hug around, and begin to trust your weight forward. Setting up for a twist, keep the right hand on the right side of the fabric. The left wrist cross onto the outside of that right thigh. Bring the shoulder, that left shoulder, inside the fabric. And then begin to spiral the spine open. If you'd like to go deeper than this, the left arm continues to slide down, and then we press into the fabric to rotate up. Gripping on, we release the spine, grab both hands onto the left side, rotating open to that left side of the mat, and then sink the weight forward, opening arms, warrior two. Grab on, return back, slip down to your ankle, re-straighten out this right leg, and we head into a nice triangle pose or partial side split. So the right hand slides down, the left hand slides up. This is all on the strand that's on this left side. And then start to sink your weight forward. Beautiful. As we come back, return to face forward. Grip one hand on each strand, and then start to melt the heart closer to that right thigh. Not only does this lengthen the hamstrings, but it also helps give that back a nice space to simply curve over. When we rise up, slide the hands up. We'll do a swinging switch to get to the other side. So you simply step left foot in and then right foot out. Once we're here, slip down into the thigh. Flat hands go high, thumbs hug around. Sink your weight forward, warrior one. Starting to set up for the twist. The right wrist crosses that left thigh. Slip the shoulder inside as well and begin to spiral the spine to gaze up. Again, if you'd like to slip a little bit further down to the right elbow, that's okay as well. Start to unwind the spine. Grip both hands on the right side, rotate the feet open to the right direction, and then sinking your weight forward, opening the arms. We're in that nice warrior two position again. Gripping the hands on. Squeezing our thighs together to return backwards. Slip down to left ankle. And then left hand down, right hand up. Start to sink your weight forward. Okay, weight comes back. Grip one hand on each side. Hop your standing foot to face forward and begin to lean forward. Okay, as we rise up, we do one more swinging switch just to balance our legs out. So gripping up high, step both feet in, and then when one foot lands down, just simply step the other foot out. Our next pose is our straddle back inversion. What this does, what I'd like you to focus on is trying to release as much of the spine as you possibly can, letting gravity really take over and pull your spine very long. So you're facing away from me, taking the fabric right at the back side of the hip bones. One step back gives us the anchorage to lean into the fabric without it slipping up the hips. Keep your core engaged as you tiptoe forward 3 tiny baby steps. Lean back with the knees wide, wrap the toes around, and begin to release into our inverted state. Now again today, all I want you to care about here is finding lots of space in between the vertebrae. So that can mean different things for different people. Sometimes this means finding little wiggles, such as letting the hips rotate like a circle left and right. Sometimes this means lifting the hands up and swaying around a little bit. And sometimes it means just being in stillness, letting the weight of our body find length and release. We'll be here for a little while. Feel free to explore as is helpful for you. If you're finding yourself here with a tremendous spinal release going on and you want to stay longer, there's nothing wrong with that. You are absolutely welcome to stay longer. The rest of us will slowly begin to head out. Look up toward your belly button, reach each hand onto each side of the fabric. Then we can unwind the toes. Slowly walk the hands a bit higher. Maybe pause here in this nice middle spot to get a little bit of blood back into the head. And eventually we drop the toes down, lean back, taking a few breaths of recovery as the blood regulates into our system again. Again, if you're still upside down, that's perfectly fine. At any point when we feel safe enough to head back into a normal Shavasana, let's grab this front edge of the fabric, wave it left and right, and we'll head all the way in. We'll give ourselves a few minutes just to release and relax and be, as our spine gets this wonderful opportunity to be completely supported again. As we prepare to head back out, we're going to take the fetal position off to each side again. So begin to roll over to the right side. And maybe just laying here is all you need. There's nothing wrong with that. Perhaps those 3 cycles curling in and arcing back are going to be helpful for you again. Whichever variation you're doing, let's begin to switch over to the left side. Maybe just laying here, or maybe taking those 3 gentle cycles. Good. Return onto your back, kick your feet free off the front, grip on to sit up. And here, take a moment to reconnect to that idea of support. Feel how open and relaxed your spine is right now, and feel how it got to that place because we took kind, gentle, slow movements throughout our class. So that's what our support can look like. It doesn't have to be this roaring, fierce source, but rather this kind, gentle aspect can be just as important and maybe even more so. And so that's the simple idea that will lead us into this wonderful day that we have. And so with support to lead us onward, let's wrap up the time that we got to share together with the silent sound of Om. We inhale together. On the exhale, in your mind, think the word Om for your entire exhale. Inhaling now. With hands together in front of the heart, we all take these wishes upon ourselves. May we be filled with light and happiness and peace. Namaste.